So, ladies and gentlemen, fanboys and girls, nerds, weeds, and otaku, welcome back and welcome home.
Well, hello there, everybody. I am talking to you from our beautiful Wham Stand Bitten Apple TV mic, and I am really happy to say that he did a fantastic job at this. And I still love the fact that if I wanted to do something like another logo, I can just clip that mic on right there. Folks, check out Wham Stand. He does amazing work. It's just beautiful. And dude, I am going to enjoy going to the cons and doing interviews with this. And the funny thing is that what goes inside of here is those little mics that you get now. That you go to the conventions and instead of holding it up to somebody like this, here talking there, we can go here talking this.
Beautiful,
folks. Wham Stand is amazing. Go check them out. And we have news coming soon about a little contest we might be doing. Keep your eyes and ears open. Frederick, great to have you on the show. I've been looking forward to this because I ran into your game and I was like, this looks interesting.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me on. I'm sorry that I was late.
No problem.
Entirely my fault.
It happens. It's live TV, folks.
It's part of the game.
Part of the game. People go, what do you mean TV, Ralph? It's TV. It's on your computer. It's still TV. I'm telling you, folks, do you want to do yourself a favor and see how anxiety and other stuff happens? Do a live show. Oh, my God. Ray, what have you been up to? I know you've been going crazy, going from show to show, showing off Madcaps.
Yeah, just podcast hopping like a madman. I mean, a lot of this I've already said before, but I've got this mini series and I'm about to launch issue 2, and you can get issue 1 as a catch up. We launch in April, which is roughly 3 weeks from now. And I know I've said this as a joke before as well, but it's torture not talking about some of the things to be revealed. It's just sitting on the back burner there. There's Madrakis doing some pretty awesome stuff. That's a piece of one of the variant covers, drawn by Rod Ramos Rodolfo and colored by the ever so talented Dan Kemp. Those two, some great teamwork on that image. But I'm really, really excited to talk about these 4 friends that are in the wrong place, or I should say the right place at the wrong time, and are forced to try and find out if an undead outbreak had some type of connection to a local drug issue. It's kind of like an adult version of Scooby-Doo minus the dog, and expressed in a medieval fantasy theme, told through the medium of comic book. Really, really awesome collaboration with all the talent I've been working with. Again, torture not being able to talk about everything yet, but we're going to be launching soon, and I can talk more about it at that time.
I got to say, the slow reveal you've been doing on your Instagram and other social media sites is like a slow strip tease.
Well, thank you. I guess that means I'm doing something right with that, so that's good.
Yeah, folks, go check out the social media sites, the Instagram and the Facebook, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It's like if you go back, you see the little bits of releases he's doing, the covers, the inside art. It's just a major tease, folks. He's doing his DM job.
One thing that I've definitely been I've learned as I've gotten older is the power of silence and the power of patience, and that definitely applies here. Anybody watching, if you were to check out this pre-launch, even if you have no interest in purchasing a copy, you'd be helping me out a ton if you clicked on that notify me on launch, because that sways the algorithm in the favor of this project, and it's more likely to show up for others. So even that effortless click will pay off in dividends for me later. Can I show off page one, just the black
go
and
for it.
white?
See, folks, you get a little exclusive here, another strip tease.
So this was just made public this week on my socials.
And this is exactly what I was talking about, because I saw that this week and I was like, what? Hold on, let me get this one off and put this one
All
on.
good. There we go. I'll zoom in a little bit. This takes off right where issue 1 left off, with these 4 childhood friends intercepting a couple of individuals smuggling some of this drug, and they're going to start pressing them for questions. The funniest part about this image is you can see the little guy up front, Dunnan, the half dwarf, half gnome. He's gesturing to the other 3, but he's speaking to the fella in the water, saying, I'll paraphrase the line, but he's saying, which person would you like to interrogate you, essentially? Which one's the ugliest, or which one's the safest? I pick the choice. Out of the individuals alive, he's using one to share with me. Victor Medina, who do this. He did a really good job.
Hey, Ray, I think we're having a little muffled mic syndrome there.
Is that me?
There we go. Much better.
Apologies.
There we go.
But anyways, it's Victor Medina who drew this. He's really good at putting expression in anatomy. That's not the easiest of things to do, but he's definitely worthy of his talent. That's for sure.
I gotta say, when I first saw this, I thought you were showing off another cover, because that's how good it looks.
Yeah, Victor. This is his first time with sequentials. I've seen him with other stuff before, and he's commented on some of the podcasts when I did the first issues, when I was promoting issue 1, rather. And I got to say, for interiors, man, I mean, this is great for a cover, let alone an interior. But
yeah,
I'm
saying. I thought you were revealing a cover.
Yeah, it comes across as a statement. Every image looks like a statement. But there's the whole thing in view. By the end of the first issue, they it wasn't part of the plan, but it worked out to their benefit. They end up knocking the cart off a bridge, falling into a creek with about shin-high water, and they end up intercepting all of the bandits' guards and the driver, and they're still in the middle of the creek, as you can see the water around them as they're about to start drilling them for questions. But yeah, that's going to be a good time. It is. And it's so much fun and so much torture.
Even now, looking at it now, it completely feels like a Dungeons and Dragons adventure.
Yes, yeah, definitely. I'm very excited to see. Rather, I should say, I'm really excited to actually show that in color. Surprise, surprise! Dan Kemp did another good job with everything that I've thrown at him, and his brother Dave has taken over some of the covers as well, and they're just knocking it out of the park. Really happy with how this one's coming together.
We can't wait. We always love some Madcaps here, and I'm looking forward to it. And of course, Ray's gonna keep showing up until it's time to go.
No, not this evening.
All right, Frederick. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself? Tell them all the good stuff. Give them the spiel. Go for it.
Sure. So my name's Frederick. I am known as the Dragon Father, I suppose, in some circles, depending on where you know me from, because I do a few different projects. But the Dragon Father's the fantasy stuff, and also my music, which is like fantasy ambient music, tavern music, the whole deal, D&D music.
Right on.
So, and that kind of came about because of this game, Dragonvault. I wanted to try my hand at some fantasy instrumental music to kind of accompany the game, and it branched off into other moods and settings and whatever, but that's kind of what started it all. This game, Dragonvault, first edition, came out 2020, And not very many people have that one because it was a very, very small run. And we ended up making some adjustments to the game, very minor adjustments, and then printed again. But it's entirely self-published.
Beautiful.
And yeah, small community, nothing big. It's in a few local stores here and there across the U.S., just a handful probably. And then I just sell on my own website and Instagram, talk about it on Instagram from time to time. And yeah, all the artwork you see there on all those cards and expansions and everything, it's a friend of mine. His name's Kyle Herring, Kyle Punk Art Herring. So I know that's probably pretty unusual that to have every single card done by the same person, but yeah, we've been working together for a few years,
Dude,
and
it's
he
only
did just a
unusual
fantastic
because that is
job.
a lot of work for one person.
Right, it is. I mean, it was spread over the course of multiple years, but regardless, even then, I mean, yeah, he's a trooper for sure when it comes to, and the artwork has such detail. He's really, really good at making the small cards. You can still, I know compositionally it can be kind of difficult to pack so much detail into a small space and have it still be easy to kind of understand and grasp what's happening. But yeah, I found him on ArtStation, and he was doing World of Warcraft fan art way back when I first discovered him, and I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna be perfect. I mean, I love WoW, so of course that was a plus for me when I saw
I knew
that.
there was an inspiration to the art I saw familiar.
Oh
I
yeah,
used to
for
play WoW
sure.
myself, so
Yeah.
oh man, so what's the story behind the cards, or is there not a story?
Well, I've got a whole world and lore and whatnot. Most of it's in my skull, but some of it I've shared on the website through different lore posts and stuff. And but the game really came about because I wanted to make something that was easy enough for to play at like a barbecue amongst people that don't really know fantasy tabletop gaming. I
That's
wanted to
important.
be able to just see if a total stranger could do it, even if we're a couple beers in. So I had a little home printed version and I took it to some barbecues, Halloween parties, stuff like that, just
Very
to
cool.
see if people could grasp it. And then I adjusted the rules accordingly to make it easy enough for people to jump in that had no idea what was going on. So the rules do fit on one card. I mean the majority of them. There's a
Wow.
QR code if you want to get like one-off scenarios of, well, if this card gets played directly after this one, yada yada. There's some little one-off things like that. So I have that on the website. But yeah, rules on one card takes probably 2 minutes to set up, and anybody can play. I mean, I didn't make this game for kids, but apparently a lot of people play it with their families, and they've told me that it's become like a family event. So that was kind
That's
of cool
cool.
to see. Yeah.
I think people forget that there's a lot of kids out there playing these I say higher adult type of games, because I run into them in the trade shows and the stores, and it's the younger kids playing these games. You're like, what the? And then they're better than you, which makes it even
Oh
worse.
yeah. Right. I know. Once you hit Unk status, once you hit about 30, everyone's like, "Oh, you're going to be bad at video games." If I'm going to play Call of Duty or whatever, I already know it's going to be so bad. I mean, you know how it is. But the same also happens with really any game. It seems the kids are the ones that are able to pick it up so quickly, and they get so good at it so quickly. And another thing that's interesting is it seems like with Dragonvault, women always win. I don't know why that is,
Hmm.
but I've noticed that trend again and again and again. Playtesting the game, I'm not sure if it's a conspiracy or what, but
Sweet talking and backstabbing by chance? Is that a thing
oh,
in the
there's
game?
plenty of that, bro. There's plenty.
Ah,
Yeah, it gets
I
very
think I've
dramatic.
cracked the case.
I've sent a few couples to therapy. I'm sure of it
Oh,
with this game. Yeah.
So it's in league with like Monopoly, Risk,
Oh
that
yeah.
kind of thing. Settlers Against
Oh
Man, of
yeah.
course.
oh
Yes.
my
I mean, you
God.
hire goblins to steal from each other and stab each other, and yeah, it's a whole. It's. I'm here for the drama, though. I am. I enjoy it.
I can hear the arguments now already.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen that meme. There was this B movie where somebody was inspired to make like a Mortal Kombat movie, and the
Uh-huh.
guy playing Shao Kahn, it's just like the meme is like 4 seconds of him in a clip in the movie, and it's a close up on his face, and he's like as serious as you can get, and he says, "I don't want peace. I want problems always."
Oh yeah,
And that's
I remember
you
that was
watching
a
this
clip
game.
on. Yeah, and what problems?
Always.
It was from from a movie, wasn't it? Like a
Yeah.
Ugandan action film or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Classic. Yeah.
That I would pay to have that Shao Kahn like narrate my life for me. He just sounds so
Absolutely.
badass. I would just, oh man. But it sounds like you're like, let this drama unfold. Let's see how these people hate each other at the end of this.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like the PvP experience. I mean, maybe I'll make something PvE or whatever in the future, but yeah, I do like the backstabbing goblins, treasure stealing, experience. So I had to put goblins in the game. I've always been a fan of goblins, goblinoid creatures. So I knew it was going to have dragons and it was going to have goblins. Those are two things that I knew had to be a part of the game from the get-go.
I gotta say, for when you end up with a lot of these people that want to fight each other in your Dungeons and Dragons games, and I'm like, this game is not made for folks.
No.
I can go play Dragonvault.
Yeah. Some people use it as like a mini game within their D&D campaigns. At least that's what I've had messages
awesome.
from DMs. And so on session 0 or whatever, or if they just have downtime, they'll incorporate it into their sessions because it's honestly closer to Uno probably than anything. It's not anything like Magic the Gathering or on that level of complicated. It is like a tavern mini game with just dragons and elves and whatnot as the characters. So it can work seamlessly within another game. Who knows? Maybe the next Witcher game they'll throw it in.
To solve problems. I'm gonna be like, all right, guys, slam the card on the table, go duel.
Yeah, literally. Yes. Who's that character in Skyrim? That Daedric prince of mischief and trickery,
Sheogorath.
I feel like he would have a
Sheogorath.
copy of this game with him at all times.
That's great.
Oh man, I like what you got so far, and I've been following you for a while, so the art did catch me automatically as soon as I saw it, and then I saw you explaining a little bit about what it was, and I was like, okay. Then I put you on my reserve. That's like sooner or later I'll talk to him and I'll get him on the show.
Yeah, you got a full schedule.
Yeah, because it really looks interesting. It looks good, and folks, he's not kidding. The art on this stuff, is just, yeah, it speaks for itself. So when you're going through all this stuff, and you got the artist and you're picking the cards, do you tell him exactly what you want, or is he like, well, here I was creating this?
I'll come up with the concept first, and then I'll give him sort of a light description, because I like it when the artist has room to put their own spin on things.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I mean, like with Avidel up the top there, I mean, I told him she was going to be an elf. I told him that I wanted her to have longer ears than the other elves, and that she had red hair. I might have mentioned the eye color being green, I think, but other than that, and I mean, obviously that's just a picture of her face, so I guess I described virtually everything then. But I like the hairstyle and whatnot. I didn't really specify. And same with the Jinn over there on the left. He wasn't supposed to look like as much like Will Smith. I don't know if that movie had come out when he did this illustration yet.
That's funny.
Maybe it had. But yeah, I just call him Will Smith now because this just is what it is. But yeah, I like giving the artist kind of just a brief description, and then if there's a detail particularly that doesn't sit right, which that pretty much never happens, to be honest with him. I mean, he seems to just knock every piece of art out of the park. I might have him change a really minor details sometimes, but most of the time, by the time I got that preliminary version, I'd be like, let's go. Okay. Maybe move this around here, or tilt this over here, or swap out this weapon for that, or whatever. But for the most part, that's how it would work.
I'm always interested especially when it comes to cards, because and then you're only dealing with one artist. So if is that easier or harder?
It's probably harder for him.
Well, I know
because
for him
obviously it's
hard.
more of a workload. But for me, I like it because everything has a uniformity to it, and it feels like the same world, and it feels like they all belong together. The color palette is the same between the cards, and especially once they're printed, and they're CMYK or whatever, the colors are so deep and rich.
Hmm.
They look so much better on the physical cards than they do even on the screen here, in my opinion. And I like moody colors, so I'm biased a bit. But when I saw the prototype, I was like, now we're talking. I won't say I never had plans to make it a digital game, but it's not a priority for me. I like the in-person experience. I do. Yeah, was trying to recapture that. Um,
It
I
makes
want the
sense though
D&D
because
music playing in person, echoing through the room. People have got their drinks,
exactly.
you know.
It makes sense because we're all kind of stuck behind these screens,
Yeah.
and I wish we would do more stuff that has nothing to do with being behind the screens.
I mean, some people, it's not feasible for them. You make friends and
It
you're in
is.
different states. I mean, I understand that. But yeah. Anyway, that's kind of the gist of things.
So, you buy a pack of cards, or you buy a starter pack. How does it work?
So, no, everything comes in one. It's not like there's no random draw or anything. So,
Oh, cool.
first deck is an 8-player game, so it comes with all 8 champions in every card.
Oh,
And
now you're talking, man.
yeah, right now I'm selling it for $10.
Oh,
So,
that's
Whoa,
pretty good.
that's really
yeah,
good.
yeah, and
That is really good.
Yes.
so that way, because it doesn't come with dice, and most people have dice, but still, I want, and it doesn't have a fancy box. See, retailers, they're not a big fan, unless they know me. I have some friends that sell an unbelievable amount of these decks in their stores because they love the game and they bring it up. But it's just in a little deck box. It's nothing flashy. So I decided to strip away the flashiness and lower the price. And that way
I
people
get it.
can just buy from me and then they have the complete deck. And so these are standalone adventures here. That first one, the red one, Dragonvault, that's the original. That one came out in 2020 and then was revised for 2021. Then this one came out, Evernight Vale. That's also a standalone. And they can be mixed and matched. So if you have one, that's fine. Comes with the 8 champions and the full deck. But you can make your own custom between the two of them. They work well together. And then just a few months ago, I released Treacherous Seas. And that's this 21 card expansion that's pirate themed. So the first one's like your typical dungeon crawl. Second one's got Vikings and barrow whites and stuff like that. And then we have pirates. That was just like a little mini deck that we did. And that one comes with a couple new champions, new encounters, new mercenaries, you name it.
I love it, and I see that you're really thinking about it. You're figuring out how to move it forward, how to do the next bit. So if you got the card decks, do they work together, or do they have to stay separate?
No, not at all. So the cool thing is, well, the cards that belong in the adventure deck, because you're all drawing from the same dungeon. That's the adventure
Right.
deck, right? You're moving through it together. They'll have that little arrowhead icon next to the name. So you can mix the cards up all you want. You just pull the ones with the arrowhead icon out and place them in the deck. And you
Yeah.
can absolutely have them work together. It's just new mechanics get introduced. So like Dragonvault Evernight Vale has a freeze mechanic, which is brutal. And some of the cards in there will freeze people on the table. And Treacherous Seas, I believe with that one, it was Ultimate was one of the ones that was introduced. I could be wrong. They were like a big one-time abilities. There's actually an alternate win condition that was introduced in that pirate expansion. Because usually it's very simple. Either you're the last one standing and everyone else dies, which that's about 50% of the time, at least. Or you got more treasure than everyone else.
I gotta
Because
say,
as you're moving, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I gotta say, it really does sound like a monopoly, but now you're letting the people
Oh,
fight
yeah.
it.
Right. It's Monopoly, but you can scrap. And yeah. So as you're moving through the deck, you're picking up treasure. So it's mixed within the adventure deck. But you're also, if you pull an encounter, you got to deal with it right when you pull it. So that could be a trap, that could be a dragon. In dragons, it's like Russian roulette. They will humbly request some of that treasure, or they will hit you for damage. And depending on the dragon, some hit harder than others. So it's like you're praying to not pull a dragon when you come to this deck, because then you're in big trouble unless you have an invisibility potion or something else that you've picked up to get around it. And you can choose to bribe the dragon and relinquish some of that treasure, or if you think you can take the hit, you can. Problem is, there's mercenary cards that other players have been picking up through the deck, and they're going to wait until a dragon takes a bite out of you, and they're going to pounce.
Oh,
So it's like, that's where the drama is. You're
Gotcha.
terrified to take the hit from that dragon because other people are waiting. And but if you give all your money away, I mean, you're definitely not going to win. So you have to take that risk throughout the deck accordingly. And yeah, so each little expansion, each standalone adventure has its own dragons, has its own beneficial encounters. There's good encounters that will help you, that if you pull those, you'll be in a good spot. There's action and response cards to redirect damage, and do all sorts of other things. Give yourself temporary boosts, whatever else. And yeah, the alternate win condition in the pirate expansion, Treacherous Seas, was if you trade this certain type of treasure to these mermaids, you can win that way too. So people will try to be looting each other's hands to get that specific treasure card, so when the mermaids come out, they have the correct combination to give them. It's very rare that it happens, but it does happen.
it's like Quidditch.
Yeah, pretty much.
You get that little tiny ball.
Right, yeah. And there's other beneficial things the mermaids will do even if you don't have that treasure that they want. But it's like, if you happen to have this, when they come out, now's the time.
Dude, yeah, like I've been enjoying your posts, and I gotta say, I think what came in on one of these, like I'm posting until it becomes the next dude.
Right. I mean, it's a lofty goal for sure. And then sometimes the trolls will come in. That's never going to happen. I'm like,
Oh.
Thank you for engaging with the post, brother. I appreciate it. It's like rage bait for people that want to, well, actually, it's like, actually, you should give up your dreams.
What bugs me out is those people think that they're doing something bad, but they're actually helping you out.
Yeah.
Those are the people
it's
that
beautiful.
help you in your freaking algorithm.
I know. Trolls are a gift. They really are. They're not just a cool fantasy creature. They're very useful. And yeah, I mean, Instagram's been a little rough. It's difficult, man, to get seen on Instagram and TikTok. It can be a grind, for sure. But
Definitely.
I used to mainly promote the game on my other page, which was my I did Skyrim memes around like 2020
Right.
that just blew up for some reason. I think it was because I did the Nord voice. Something about it, and it blew up. And so then I just was saying, by the way, I have this game. So most of the posts were on that other account. And I don't do the Skyrim stuff anymore.
And
but
make
for a
sure
good
to
couple
check
years.
out this next project of mine.
Yeah. Wind guide you. We'll see.
You know how it is, but I don't know if we're all DMs here, but that's what they like, is like they're always waiting for that character with the unique voice.
My
yeah.
kids, they play around. So at a dollar store, they were selling D&D figurines, like $5
At the dollar store?
at the dollar store. I
That's
kid
wow.
you not. That over a year
What a
ago,
time
I
to be
bought
alive.
them. So there's all of the figurines were based off of the 5th edition Player's Handbook character drawings. So the barbarian's got the blonde beard and the nice knit. I've got a figurine of that guy. So there's one of the Drow Rogue and a bunch of others, but I have this barbarian. So my kids, I'm like, I just randomly put syllables together. I said, my name is Die Clausen, and I just kept on going with that accent. My kids just love Die Clausen so much. And then my brother was in from out of town, so he got this. There's a big ogre, just like in the monster manual. So, my name's Boney McClub, and then hard with the Scottish accent.
Scottish
blah, blah,
ogre, I
blah.
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always down for Scottish accents in video games, even though I'm just a little wee bit Scottish. But I think my favorite has got to be that dwarf from Hearthstone. Gather round the fire! Like there's something so just jovial about that
aggressive
character.
burr in it.
Yes, it's aggressive happiness. Yeah, there's something
Yes.
about it. Like you will be hugged. He might
you will
slap
like
you in the
it.
back of the head. If he can reach, he might get on a stool first. But yeah, I don't know. That's got to be my favorite. And man, I've played just a disgusting amount of Hearthstone. My goodness, the amount of hours of my life that have been sunk into that game for sure. But
I
yeah, I don't
remember
regret
in
it.
one of the episodes of the Mighty Nine, Matt Mercer had to voice a dwarf, and he's got like this not nice voice, and he's got the sarcasm. He's like, "Are you okay? Like, why are you speaking so mean to me?" And he says, "I'm a dwarf. It's my resting bitch voice."
Yes, that's good.
Oh, that's excellent. Dude, we all know that guy who talks like this and everything he says sounds really mean. And you're like, what the hell you being so mean to? What are you talking about? I'm just talking.
Right.
That reminds me of that meme where it says statistically, the more a girl likes you, the higher her voice is when she speaks to you. And then underneath the comment, this explains why every girl who speaks to me sounds like Batman.
Sounds like that guy off Underworld. Remember what was his name? The werewolf guy with
Oh,
the
yeah,
just
with the really
inaudibly
deep voice.
Yeah.
Yes. He sounded like Kevin Conroy and what's his name who played why can't I think of his name? The guy who played Worf. Those two had a love child. That's what that voice.
Michael Dorn.
That was
Michael
spot on
Dorn,
for
thank
sure.
you.
Yes,
Kevin
I am
Conroy and
Lieutenant
Michael
Commander
Dorn.
Worf, Starship Enterprise.
Oh my goodness, my testicles have fallen to the ground. Just
Worf
such a
is all the
deep
way
voice.
down here. Kapla. Oh my God. Yes, folks, we're a bunch of geeks and nerds enjoying ourselves and hanging out here. But I gotta
Klingons
say,
are space orcs. That's what they are.
dude, that's exactly what they are.
And
Oh, yeah.
and Vulcans are space elves.
Yeah, that one I automatically I was like, what are you talking? Ralph, what are you talking about? It's a freaking elf, man. Look at
Not from
you
the
act like
spaceship.
an elf. I gotta say the art on this stuff is just, folks, look at this stuff. That's why I'm showing it off here because this is exactly what caught my attention as I was scrolling to Instagram, and I was like, I gotta go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, this one right here is an alternate art. We did like shadow versions of the Evernight Vale champion. So that second blue deck, all of those characters got sort of re-envisioned as villains just for fun. I have that up for the website for $5. It's all 8 of the champions just just to flex, at the table. You've
Pretty
got the
cool.
special version of Matthias.
Dude, that's great. Yeah, because sometimes you just want to be a little different.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I said, we have a small community, but the cool thing about it is it's been going for a few years now, and it's a very it's a very kind of tight knit group, and Dragon Vault. There definitely are some people in that group that are all about the flexing, and they wanted stuff to flex. So I had Kyle do some alt arts and stuff for them, and she's a character. That's Zora. She's also from the Evernight Vale. She's an alchemist, as you can see, and really fun ability because she weaponizes potions. So as you pick the potions up through the deck, healing potions, invis potions, whatever they are, you can also throw them at people at the table and they explode. So that's and she can do it at any time. Let's see. Oh, it's during her turn. Never mind. So
All
during
the
her turn,
power
she can
in
toss
the
it.
palm of her hand puts the palm in napalm.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
Yeah, it's a
Velga.
nice
She's a
art.
fan favorite for sure, for obvious reasons.
I gotta say, I feel like you really had fun with this, and each as I show off each card, it just like drags you into the world.
Yeah,
And
I'm
then you
not
sit
gonna
in there
claim
going,
I'm a Tolkien by any means, for sure. I mean,
exactly.
I won't lie, brother. I love cliches.
Yep.
Dude. Okay, I eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches like every day. Not every day, but and I never get sick of it. I'm that guy. Eggs, no salt. My wife, she's Russian. She couldn't believe that I didn't use salt or any seasoning at all. I'm that guy. So when it comes to fantasy, I'm not trying to make it too deep. I was like, you know what I want? I want the dwarves, the goblins, the elves. And I get it. It's kind of derivative. I mean, all fantasy is derivative of Tolkien at the end of the day. I mean, even no matter how far you get, you're always going to be in the shadow of that man. And so I just stopped pretending like I wasn't in the shadow
Took
of Tolkien.
ownership of what you are. I get
Yes,
that.
it's like, hey man, I'm not reinventing the wheel here. We have walking cats because I have 4 in my household. And so, of course, we're going to have cats. And yeah, so I mean the lore it's pretty fun lore once you get into it. I won't lie. There's some things I really like about the lore and how the world is constructed, but and the pantheons that are involved, which are briefly seen in the card art here and there. Some of them are described on the. I had like a lore section, like I was talking about on the website. I don't know if it's up anymore. I need to look at that, see if I hid it, because sometimes when I go back to the drawing board, I'm like, I got to take this down. And then I go through and I change some details. You know, I'm like retconning things secretly all the time so that nobody really knows what the lore is. That wasn't intentional, but I'm like, what if the orcs actually came from this place? I think I'm going to change that. Anyway.
That's the good thing about doing stuff like this is like, since it's not up there, you can go, that's how it was the whole time.
Right. Especially if I'll name something and I'll be like, that's the coolest, most original name ever. And then later I see that it's some obscure D&D thing from like 1991. And I'm like, what? So then I have to go through and change it because I'm like, I can't have people thinking that I ripped this off on purpose, bro. I mean, there was a word. What was it? Oh, you know the high elves, Eladrin?
Yes.
I literally had a race of creatures called the without the Eldrin. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. Bro, then I remembered and I was like, they're not called that actually. I went through and I'm like, changed it all on the website. I'm like, absolutely. You never saw that.
They're really called this.
Yeah.
Dude, but that's just DMing done on cards.
Yep.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's
This
like, Rob,
right
didn't you say
here-
last week that they were called this? I'm like, no, never said that.
Don't know what you're talking about, but I just looked on your stream and it says it right here. No, that's AI generated. I didn't do that.
This right here, Avidel's certainly, I mean, if we were to stack up all the characters, she's by far the most loved. And there was a cosplayer, Narga Livestream. She does unbelievable World of Warcraft, best World of Warcraft cosplays I've ever seen. And she actually did a cosplay of Avidel. I'm not
Nice.
sure if you can see it on the Instagram. It might be on there.
Let's look.
But she did a whole handcrafted costume, which looked freaking photorealistic. I couldn't believe. Are you on? Yeah, if you're on Instagram, it'll probably be further down because it was a couple years ago. Oh yeah, that's Morgana on the right there.
Oh, wow. She really captures the character.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, it was so cool. When the game was first kind of circulating around the internet, there were some really cool cosplays of people throwing stuff together and just to kind of help promote the game. And yeah, that's Calypso. She's a more of like obviously Greek inspired. Again, not reinventing the wheel. I'm like, let's have the Odyssey
do it.
thrown in here
You
with
know,
Lord of the Rings.
it's funny that we're talking about this because, us geeks, we want what we want. And I don't
Yeah.
get why some geeks get upset. I'm like, you want this.
Yeah, right. I'm like, you know what? How do I incorporate cool I mean, we've done this with mythological creatures forever. We're just lifting them from history and whatever else. That's Selene. She's probably my personal favorite of the champions. But yeah, this was Farron's cosplay. She's in the UK. It costs a fortune to send decks overseas, though, because I'm not in distribution.
Yeah.
Since I send everything from my apartment. And I tell people it's going to be expensive. I'll send you the game if you want to pay $25. And that was before all this COVID stuff. Well, it was right at the beginning, and the prices have only skyrocketed since.
And then now we got to do with tariffs.
Yeah, who knows what the future is going to be. I've spoken to distribution companies before, but their biggest gripe was the box because they know people, they shop with their eyes, They think big box equals good game. And I was telling them, well, I did the opposite of that on purpose. I was thinking small box, low price, better for the consumer, which is true. But in a retail environment, I won't lie, you're not going to see Dragonvault in the sea of games. So that I understand why distribution companies, they're like, I don't know about this. This tiny little deck, you know, how are people going to see this? But that's fine, because what I set out to do was to just build a small community and sell it through my site and make it easy for people. The cards are insanely high quality, by the way. They're
They
very
look it,
sturdy, and
dude. We're watching it on the video, and they already look like they're high quality.
Yes.
yeah, they're
That's
very
hard to
thick.
do on a video.
Especially since I don't know if you guys have this problem or if this is just my phone. Whenever I'm trying to show the cards, it's always flopping between the camera lenses.
Yeah,
And like, oh, now it's doing the wide angle now, and I always have to try and turn it off. But on, I think it's either TikTok or Instagram, it doesn't give you the option to disable one of those cameras like it does when you're just doing a regular video on your phone.
right.
So that's been a nightmare and a half. But they want you to edit in their app. It's like, well, make your app work, and I'll do that.
Yeah, I have to
Come on,
say
Zuck.
that's what they're all doing now. They all want you to edit in the app, and I'm like, well, yeah, but make it easy for me to edit in the app. Don't make it hard for me to.
Yeah. Well, and how much time do you think we have? Let's be honest, guys. Am I supposed to make a unique version of each video edited only in your platform? So I got do YouTube Shorts and then,
Shoot.
you know,
What makes it
TikTok
worse if
and-
you're editing like this?
Oh, yeah. yeah. I know.
Oh man, no, folks. Social media is not easy,
No, it will take a toll on you. It's
especially on your
like,
eyesight.
oh, I know. I've noticed a huge, unfortunately, yeah, I have to wear these blue light glasses now virtually all day, because if I don't, I'm to the point now where my vision is blurry by the end of the day, legitimately blurry. And I'm like, am I going blind? I mean, I really love this game, so, you know, I'll do what I got to do. But it's like, that's a little scary, you know?
So I'm liking what I'm hearing. Have you considered making like a Dungeons and Dragons version? You know, right off the bat, I hear video game.
Oh, yeah. Do you mean like Dungeons and Dragons IP? Like,
You know, like come out do the story, the lore, the book, so you can play as the characters or play
oh,
in your
yeah,
world.
yeah. Like, I see.
Yeah.
Man, I thought about it. It's just, I have a habit of biting off more than I can chew with these creative projects.
That's a lot of work.
And
yeah.
between Dragonvault, because I have Dragonvault, I have my fantasy music, which I release at least a couple things a year usually. And then I have a death metal project. I have more
Ooh.
Dungeon Synth I'm releasing in that project.
Ooh.
And just a few different, I have multiple solo projects, mainly metal, but and fantasy stuff. That's like my two interests. It's either got to be slamming blast beats and growling, or it has to be literal fairy music, tavern whimsical. It's one or the other, man. Something about regular music in the middle, my brain, it just can't grasp it. It has to be one of the extremes. So between those projects, adding on like a pen and paper big lore book or something, oh man, maybe when I'm 40, you know, and I've slowed down a bit, and I have time to sit in my study and whip out the pipe. I have one of those long stemmed Gandalf pipes, and maybe I'll just start ruminating on the lore and kind of compiling it. I was actually writing just a book of lore just for its own sake for a while, explaining the Silmarillion style, you know, explaining the cosmology and the histories of certain kingdoms. Right. But where does it end, bro? It's like when you zoom into an image, now you have all this new detail, but you can zoom in again. You can be like, yeah, but zoom in on that rock. Let's tell me more about that rock. And it never ends. Like, you can just pick a subject, then I name drop a character. Then I think, yeah, but let's zoom in on him.
Yep.
And how many 17 other things that this person is connected to. And I can see why Tolkien actually passed away before he even remotely got close to finishing everything that he was expounding upon. And it's taken his son so many decades to kind of piece stuff together. I mean, I get it.
Dude, just being a dungeon master alone, people think it's just like you do this little thing and you know, that's it. No, usually we have lore for almost everything that you're facing. There may be times where they'll run into something and they want to talk to him or what's this? And you're like, freak, That's the one thing that I didn't.
Yes, every DM's worst nightmare. They're like, yeah, but what if we went over there? You're like, that's the place I haven't got notes for yet. A mysterious force has blocked your path. Like in the
Exactly.
video games, just an invisible wall. You can't go there.
You know what? I have a lot of fun just improving into those scenarios.
Same here.
I
Takes
don't even
skill.
care. We're going in and let's just I don't know if you remember there was one issue of Spider-Man, I believe in the 80s, early 80s. The cover art was actually a photo, and the story arc, it's one issue in Amazing Spider-Man where it consists of Peter Parker's getting changed at an airport, and somebody walks into him in the room while he's getting like halfway through getting changed. And the guy happened to have a camera in his hand, so he snaps a photo, and through a series of unfortunate events for Peter, he's not able to catch the guy, and the whole episode is Peter trying to find this guy, locate him before he sells these photos to like the highest bidder in the New York underworld. And near the end of it, there's like two gangs fighting over getting these pictures that are in an envelope. And Peter's like, okay, I can figure this out. The next panel, he's jumped off the building. He says, all I need now is a plan.
Yeah.
And that's
DMing
me
in a
when that
nutshell.
crazy stuff happens.
Right.
I think I have more fun when it's like that. You know, it's no. My only problem is that then I have to start taking notes while I'm doing it because you know what's gonna happen.
Right.
Yeah.
What did I say?
That never happened.
They don't come back at you. You know they love coming back at you. But you said shut up.
Oh, but you said, yeah. Hey, I thought we were. It's like, yes, we were doing that. Yes, where were we? Hey, you guys want to do a recap of the last session before we start?
One of my
What do you guys remember from that?
One of my favorite lines I use a lot is if somebody asks something that's mildly contradicting just because I forgot to remember one piece of detail, they'll say, hey, that doesn't coincide with, and then they'll say the thing, and I'll say, yeah, that's pretty interesting, isn't it? And just not even
I love doing that one.
Well, actually,
like,
you failed the ability to recall that memory, so the memory was distorted. So
I gotta
actually
say,
didn't recollect it properly.
I gotta say, some of my favorite times has been when I do nothing, and they get carried away with it, and they create this whole thing that you had not thought of at all, and you're just sitting there going.
Mm-hmm. You feel like the old master in the dojo, you know, and like your pupils have grown up. You're like Master Splinter, and you just got the one tear in your eye, and you're like, look at them go. I started this adventure, but they made it something else.
Exactly. That's also what like so you go into a dungeon and you see a door, and for an hour they're discussing the door.
Right. There was a character. Yeah, focus, guys. Come on. There's a card that turns someone into a sheep in one of the Dragonvault.
Ooh.
It was one of the pirate expansions, and that character, the sheep, had his own whole thing in the Discord for a long time. He turned into this literal legend because they were saying, yeah, but does he keep his flintlock pistol after he transforms? And you don't, according to the rules. You have to discard your items. But this whole thought of like the transformed sheep that becomes the local folk hero, and he still has his flintlock pistol, that was a whole thing. So that he became a legend in his own right. Maybe I'll resurrect him for a future card. I'll make an actual sheep. You know, maybe he'll have a blunderbuss or something, so it can be just slightly different. But it would be like a nod, you know, to this sort of developing lore from the players.
Yeah, it would be like straight from the players.
Yeah.
The legend of the sheep.
There was a legend once of in the story, these people, they slay a dragon. They're going through the hoard, all the treasure, and they find this like helm of intellect. So when you put it on, your intelligence raises by 2. So the wizard says, I need that because I have more versatility in my spells. The warlock says, I need it because my spells are more potent. And the barbarian says, put it on the pig. They had a pig they're going to save for later. So they put the helmet on, and the pig has enough intelligence to start speaking now. So he says, greetings, companions. And then after that, he was just known as Sir Bacon the Brave. And that was like a key NPC for like a big chunk moving forward. Greetings, companions.
Put it on the pig. It sounds like something a bunch of people playing the game would do.
But I definitely want to see a sheep wielding a flintlock pistol now, that's for sure. That just sounds like a good time.
I'm not sure how they would even do that with the way that their hooves or whatever, but you know what?
We'll call them
about it.
We'll call them Blam Blam.
Right. You know, did either of you watch Street Sharks back in the times of yore?
I have.
Yeah, I won't lie. I put a great white character, and he wasn't supposed to have any connection with who's that shark guy? Is it DC Comics?
King Shark.
Shark dude.
King Shark.
Yeah, DC.
What legendary DC? Okay. And believe it or not, I didn't really know about him too much. I was reaching back into the early '90s with Rupert, because he's a British guy, or however he's British. And yeah, he's got to be probably my favorite. Other than, oh man, earlier I said Selene was my favorite. I'm doing it again. I have a bad habit of this, changing my favorite thing. You know.
Oh, but as DMs, that's what we do.
Yeah, like, actually, this is the best thing we did.
I know that there's times where if I've been doing a voice for too long and it starts to grain at you, you're like, okay, this is not my favorite.
Right. Yeah. Or you have trouble turning it off.
Oh my god! Oh, that happened.
Oh yeah, I would get a voice sort of stuck in my head, or like the inclination to do a voice. It'll stick, and then it'll be like the rest of the day, I'll be doing the dishes. Oh, I've got to do and it'll just come to me, and I'll end up annoying myself. I have this joke with my wife. Inside of me are two wolves. One of them's obnoxious, and one of them's easily annoyed, and it's so true, man. It's so true. I'll get in that DM mode, and then I'll be like, Frederick, please, you turn off the theatrics, because then I'll be going like, you just don't turn it off. I start sounding like Rambo.
You said that, and that's the first thing that popped into my head. I was like, you just don't turn it off.
Yeah.
You keep going with it.
It's over. Nothing's over. Nothing.
Nothing is over. Nothing.
Nothing is over.
Nothing is over. Nothing.
I saw that on a group. It was 80s nostalgia, and then it shows that scene in Rambo, and the guy says, Rambo, the 80s is over. No, nothing is over. No, he's just angry.
No, it certainly isn't. It still isn't over, because they still haven't stopped playing 80s music in the stores. That never stopped, actually, from the 80s till now. Yeah. And then now we're like, hey, remember the 80s? And we're getting nostalgic about the 80s again, on top of the 80s never leaving. Mm-hmm. And I'm still about it. So it's fine.
You know what? Speaking of the 80s, anybody see the wrap-up of Cobra Kai?
No. I didn't get to see it.
Oh, man. The season
I heard that they made it really nostalgic.
Well, putting the fan service aside, season 4 and 5 I felt were weak. But season 6 is fantastic. It's nothing short of fantastic. It wraps it up really nicely. I was actually shocked. The last couple episodes are very condensed, but not in a bad way. Like, it makes sense when you watch it play out. I was really happy to see how that played out.
That's what I've been hearing. I've been hearing a lot of good things about that final season. Yeah.
Yeah, the Karate Kid 80s flair hasn't gone anywhere. It's still going, right? Like you're saying.
I want to see more films done with the that those dark fantasy memes really blew up on TikTok, and everybody's doing this like AI generated really heavy stark shadows, and it made me think when I saw that, I haven't seen a movie look like that actually in a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's something about like they had freaking strobe lights or some unbelievably bright light source creating these extremely heavy just ink. The shadows almost look like spilled ink, like they're so dark.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and we watched the movie Legend. It's like that, absolutely. I mean, from
Yeah.
start to finish.
Innocent.
We got to bring that back, man.
Yeah.
We got to get Hollywood. Well, good luck with that.
Well, the
I-
problem right now to get those effects, everything has to be a practical effect.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That's
We've all been
the problem.
saying.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Instead of underpaying CGI artists, working them to the point of madness, why don't you just build a freaking, even if it's polystyrene or whatever they make this out. I don't care if it's cheap. I just want it to. I don't
want it
care
to
if it's a
feel-
practical effect that looks fake.
Mhm.
As long as the lighting's hitting it a certain way, my brain will actually buy it.
Yes.
I
it
would
looks
literally rather
looks
see
so
it at
real.
TMNT with the suits, which I just watched again the other day.
with the eyes through
they-
the mouth.
Yeah, I saw that exact thing. It's terrifying, is what it is. That still image, yeah.
I want
there's
to see
something
I want
about
to see
it,
that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles back like that again. Come on,
Yes.
dude.
Even the lighting in that film, it wasn't even dark fantasy. But when they were down there in the sewers, I'm like, this literally looks like one of those dark fantasy memes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels
such
like
an
they're
atmosphere.
actually in a sewer as opposed to on a set that
Yeah.
looks like a sewer or sort of like a sewer.
And also, I've noticed a lot of movies, they make people look a little bit too polished up. I
Yeah.
kind of miss that just gritty, dirty,
Yeah.
almost not ugly because
Real.
like old sci-fi, clunky,
Yeah.
sort of just like old Battlestar Galactica,
Oh, definitely.
Alien. That
The original Star Wars
absolutely love.
trilogy.
Yes,
Yes.
that is something. I always laugh when I watch Alien, and whoever the captain is, who goes down into the tunnels and gets snatched up or whatever. Not tunnels, but he's in the ship and he has that clunky flashlight.
Beep,
That is the yes.
Yes.
The fact that they're in the future, but he's
In the
still got that big
flashlight,
old.
yeah.
Yes, that makes me laugh. Whenever I see that, I'm like, this is how you know the exact era that this was filmed in, because something like that, they didn't think, oh, they'll have smaller flashlights in the future. That hadn't even occurred.
We will invent a new thing called LED lights.
Right, and it's going to
This will
hurt
be
your
the
eyes.
flashlight.
And when you drive at night, you're going to see the next life. Yeah, man.
Yeah, that
seems
was an
like,
era, man. One thing I would definitely like to see in movies again is just the practical effects. The
I agree.
practical effects, there's so much life. Like you said, I'd rather it look a little bit more fake, but you realize it's 100% real at the same time.
Yeah.
When the actors, there's times you need it. Did you see the fan service? It's like a 15-minute fan service Star Trek homage where William Shatner comes back to play Captain Kirk, and it takes place right after he dies in Generations.
Yeah, I saw that.
You saw that?
Oh.
That's an
I'm not a
example.
Star Trek guy.
They de-aged him. De-aging, I get for very sparing times, and this would be one of them.
Right.
But with the exception of that, very seldom do I want to see CGI. I just don't. I'm not interested. Unless it's something so unrealistic, you have to have it in there. I don't show it to me,
Yeah. I mean, probably the only scene in Rogue One that was weak, in my opinion, was when they brought Princess Leia out at the
Yes.
very end.
And
I was like,
Tarkin as
"Oh,"
well.
when I saw that. No, the movie was such a vibe from the start until that point. I was like, okay, it's the only one of the newer Star Wars that I like, was that one.
Yeah, it was
The other
good.
ones didn't capture me. But this one, I'm like, okay, all right, everything looks good. All the Imperial, stuff looks excellent. New interesting characters. Okay, we got Donnie Yen in here. All right, we got freaking Ip Man. Let's go. But then that very last scene, it's just the most cursed. It looked bad then, but now, even a few years in the future, it's like it didn't hold up even 7 minutes.
Well,
Oh,
Tarkin,
man.
Tarkin as well in that.
Yeah,
he
true.
falls
He
short.
was in
but-
dark. Yeah.
Yeah, he had darkness. That's why you see a lot of CGI. It's at nighttime or in the dark, is to try and hide that thing they can't hide.
Yeah, right.
They
I
know.
mean, Jurassic Park figured out how to do it in '93. And,
Yeah, 30 plus years ago.
Right.
Dude, I remember when they would de-age you by putting makeup on you, or they would age you by putting makeup
Yes,
on you.
yes.
I'm like, dude, just put the
Bam,
makeup
right
on.
there. That guy
Right.
right there. There. From my view, anyways. Maybe I'm pointing away from him with others, but there. High five. Yeah.
Oh, wait, there.
Bam.
Wait,
Done.
Yeah, I
Okay.
used to love when they would de-age or age you with the makeup, you know, because it was a little, as fake as it was a little more realistic.
Right. You know, Edward Scissorhands when they
Yes.
age up Winona Ryder. But what really sold it for me was the whistling when she was talking. I was like, she's definitely old. I heard that. I don't even need to see the makeup. She's talking like scissors. And it has that like sound.
Yeah.
Like that sold me right there. You didn't even need to
Scissors.
de-age. Yeah, scissors. Normally I can do it. I can't do it today, apparently.
Hey, son of Saint, how you doing?
Unfortunately, fellas, I've got to get going.
Don't worry about it. We are near the end, so you know what we got to do now. Frederick, tell the people all the good stuff. Tell them where they can find you. Yeah, I'll put up your stuff again, and you go right ahead and let them know where they can get you.
Sure, I appreciate you. So DragonvaultGame.com, that's where you'll find all the Dragonvault stuff. I've got socials, TikTok, Instagram. You just look up Dragonvault. It should come up, Dragonvault Game. And if you're interested in my music, which I'm sure some of you could, want to check out some of my playlists, The Dragon Father, that's my fantasy music, and I have the playlists linked there from all sorts of other artists. I've met some really cool people, D&D composers, and we have each other on each other's playlists and stuff. And I've got them sorted for Dungeon Masters by mood/scenario kind of. So it's like I've got my ominous D&D music, I've got like the ambient, dark ambient combat music, the works. So
You're talking our
that way
language
you
here,
can,
especially as DM.
yeah. I tried to, set people up with, the least amount of digging possible. It's all linked from the Dragonfather, so you can find that there. I actually did an 80s style, sort of like Double Dragon soundtrack,
Cool.
arcade soundtrack album that
Ooh.
just dropped a couple weeks ago
Nice.
under the Dragonfather. It's called Astral Champion 2. And that one's totally got it. Speaking of the 80s stuff we've been talking about today, I mean, that's like maximum. I turned the 80s cheese all the way up for that album as much as it would go, to the point where I was almost
love
too
what
much
you're
for
talking.
me. Yeah. So that's the gist of it, guys. Dragonvault Game, the Dragonfather, and yeah.
And you can find the music where?
Spotify, just the Dragonfather. All my playlists are up on there. Apple Music, the other main ones too, but
Oh, cool.
my playlists are on Spotify mainly.
Folks, there you go. Easy to find. All you DMs out there who need some extra music, there you go. Go check them out. All right, Mr. Ray. Why don't you tell the people all the good stuff? Let them know where they can find you.
For sure. You can find me on Facebook as DM Ray. DM is short for Dungeon Master. You can also find me. You can find the Madcaps Facebook page as well. You can also find me on both Instagram and what I like to call Twixter as Raymond the DM. DM Ray unfortunately was taken, and we've got 3 weeks to go, and this thing is going live. If you don't find me anywhere, if there's only one place you could find me on, I would prefer you to go to this pre-launch page. Look up the Madcaps, issue number 2. Madcaps is one word, and you will be helping me out leaps and bounds on just clicking that notify me on launch. But I guarantee you this is a 3-issue miniseries. It all takes place over one night, and this is an homage to anybody that has a friend or a circle of friends that you seldom get to see, but your souls are recharged when you actually get to see each other. And overall, you will be having a really good time. This is not 6 decades worth of lore you have to have memorized to understand these 3 issues. This is something its own standalone. You don't have to know anything go into it. And by the time we get to issue 3 after this one launches, it's going to be huge. And I guarantee you it's going to be a good time. So sign up now. And come April 1st, we're going to go live and you can buy in. We got some really cool add-ons, including character sheets. We've got blankets with cover art on it, which we're calling plush tapestries, because they'll also look good hanging on walls, not just on your shoulders. And lots of other cool little
Plus tax.
interesting things to talk about. But I'll let the art speak for itself after I'm done speaking here. But please sign up. I guarantee you there will be, everybody will have something awesome they can get from this project. That's for sure.
Folks, I love this thing, and it feels exactly like what it sounds like if you're actually playing the game or you're getting the inside jokes, and you can picture the people who are playing this game. And it kind of reminds me of the same feeling for the D&D movie, because that's what I loved about the D&D movie, is that you can actually feel the characters doing their thing behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hold on, there you go.
There you go. That one.
Dragons, Honor Among Thieves.
Bro, is that a DVD?
Yes, it was.
Let's go.
Walmart special, baby.
Let's go.
I still get DVDs, folks, so you should get digital. I'm like, no, I don't feel like I own digital.
I do have digital. It's just on. I do have
Oh, yeah,
digital.
no,
It's just on a physical copy.
It's
called
that's
DVD.
honestly, I do a similar thing, but with VHS. With the classic movies, like I have my backup, they're my apocalypse, just in case the world ends, the internet goes down. You know, I've got like the old Star Wars trilogy, non-special editions, like on the VHS,
Beautiful.
just sitting there waiting for that day. I've even found Lord of the Rings on VHS.
Beautiful.
That does exist, not extensions or not extended.
I was gonna say it came out around that time where you can still find it. It makes sense.
Right.
VHS was just on the way out. Right,
yeah, exactly. Angel said my sister does that kind of makeup. Always weird to see the before and after. I completely agree. And I've seen some great makeup artists do that stuff. And somebody's like, cheese.
Oh yeah, about the 80s probably. Maximum cheese.
Hey, Brent Trick. Good to see you, Brent.
And Nathan is like, sorry, boys, the Monster Hunter team called and I had to answer. Hope you had a good stream, though. Now we know why Nat didn't show up. All right, folks. I hope you have loved this great geek out. And it was a great geek out, folks. We covered a lot of beautiful stuff. Go check out all these beautiful people. Make sure you go get some cards, go buy some books. Come on, folks. Go play some D&D. Roll for initiative. And, of course, on this show, when it ends, I press the button. And where it stops, nobody knows.